While the Phineas and Ferb universe features many spy agencies like S.H.E.I.L.D, the British S.P.Y.N.E union, and even Canada's team that never quite got around to picking a name, O.W.C.A stands out for one key reason: all of its agents are animals. In prehistoric times, Bunker de Bequan battled the villainous Doofenshmirtz. Fast forward to 1542, and Master Perry the Platypus was going head-to-head with Toothless Kong. By the early 1900s, operatives like Swearing the Swan were taking on threats such as Professor von Doofenshmirtz. Over time, these brave animal agents began organizing, making sure each had a proper nemesis to face. One of the earliest known groups was the Secret Order of the Knights without a cool acronym, active as early as 1914. By the 2000s, O.W.C.A had evolved into the world's leading animal spy agency, with teams and operations running across the globe. Start at the top with the big cheese, Major Francis Monogram. When he was just a little 5-year-old kid, all he wanted for Christmas was a pony. But unfortunately, he never got one, and because of that, he holds a serious grudge against Santa Claus. He also dreamed of being an acrobat, but his dad pushed him into the family business, fighting evil. He got shipped off to a place called the Academy. He even went there with the actor Ray Liotta. He hated it, but his dad wouldn't budge. In a super dramatic moment, his dad even told him the matter was settled, and then dropped the news that he wasn't even his real father. Fast forward in time, and he's grown up, joins the O.W.C.A, and even climbs the ranks to become the head honcho of the Tri-State Area Division. Now he's the guy you see on the giant screen giving Perry the Platypus his missions. His scrawny intern Carl is always there filming him. One of the weirdest things about Monogram, and you see this a few times, is that sometimes he briefs Perry without any pants on. Yeah, just the uniform shirt and nothing else. He only seems to put on pants when he's out in public or on the field, so he does have some sense of professionalism. Oh, and that perfect military haircut, it's a wig. He's totally bald underneath, a little side effect of a new pneumatic tube transporter they installed. His mustache is fake too. He's got a collection. And that signature unibrow, which Doofenshmirtz loves to call him Major Monobrow for, is all real. Lately, his age has been catching up to him. One time his back gave out so bad, he couldn't even give Perry his mission. Carl had to fill in. He's also mentioned being 35% metal with gold teeth and a copper spleen. In the future, we see he eventually retires and moves to Bora Bora. Living the good life, he lets his hair grow out, grows a little beard, and just chills in Hawaiian shirts. Carl takes over as Commander Carl, but they stay friends. In that dark alternate future where Doofenshmirtz takes over, though, Monogram has a much rougher time. He's old, has a long white beard, and is forced to work for Doof. It all went wrong when Perry got hit with a giant ball of tinfoil and was out of commission for 18 months, giving Doof the chance to finally win. Personality-wise, Monogram is usually super serious, always in major mode, even when he's working a shift at Slushy Burger or writing a letter to Santa. He can crack a joke, but it's rare. He doesn't have a lot of patience for Carl's awkwardness or any of Doofenshmirtz's nonsense. He also gets really intense about money, probably because the O.W.C.A is always over budget. He gets super motivated by things like his birthday, but he reacts really badly to negative stuff, like when Doof finally takes over at the end of the summer, leaving him totally depressed. He's also secretly always wanted to be a singer. He tries to bust out into song a few times, but always gets cut off. It's his hidden passion. His relationship with Perry is pretty formal. He almost always calls him Agent P. He thinks Perry is the best agent they have. He even cried a little when he thought Perry had gone rogue, but he and Carl also love to mess with Perry. They made him dress up as a magpie once, and another time they took a picture of him in a ridiculous circus outfit just to laugh at it later. He doesn't seem to know much about the other animal agents, and even wonders why they're all animals. He once called himself superior to them, and they all just turned and growled at him. He's had a few non-animal agents, though, like Norm the robot and Planty the potted plant. Doofenshmirtz was even an agent for a while before he got fired, too. Speaking of Doof, he and Monogram have a weird frenemy thing going on. They hosted a musical countdown show together and are always poking fun at each other, especially when Doof found out his first name was Francis, but there's some respect there. Monogram is married, and we hear about his wife, but we never see her face or learn her name. He has a son, Monty, who we'll get to later. He didn't really know who Phineas and Ferb were for a long time, and at one point, he thought they were evil and called in military backup on them. He only really got familiar with them after the whole second dimension incident. He eats blood sausage and tacos, wears a wig, and his catchphrase is "great googly moogly." He's also allergic to cheese, it makes his whole body swell up, and he's terrified of moths. For all his seriousness, the guy's a walking collection of weird quirks. And you can't talk about Monogram without talking about his eternally loyal and for the longest time unpaid intern, Carl. He was born in Chula Vista, California, and started working for the O.W.C.A 5 years before the show started, getting promoted to unpaid intern pretty quickly. Carl's a bit clumsy and awkward. He once messed up the camera zoom so badly that all you could see were his glasses during a briefing, and another time he accidentally revealed that Monogram wasn't wearing pants. He's super dedicated though, and really tries his best. He even has his own theme song, Carl the Intern. He's had to go undercover a few times, once as an ice cream man to give Perry a mission without Buford and Baljeet noticing, and another time as a kid to spy on Phineas and Ferb because Monogram thought they were up to no good. Carl figured out they were just having fun and reported back. He's also desperate for a girlfriend. When Perry showed up in his lair while in Candace's body, Carl got super excited, thinking a real girl had breached security, and was then super bummed when he realized it was just Agent P in a very convincing disguise. One of his biggest moments was when he got zapped by Doofenshmirtz's ultimate evilinator and became Evil Carl. He put on a black leather jacket and a cape and tried to take over the tri-state area using his position inside the O.W.C.A. It was a whole thing. Perry had to team up with Monogram and even Doofenshmirtz in Africa to turn him back to normal. After all that, Monogram promoted him to paid intern, but as a title only. He still didn't get paid. By the end of the series, he's off to college. But about 10 years later, we see he's been promoted to Commander Carl after Monogram retired. He even has his own intern now. He's still friends with his old boss, and he, Doof, and Perry have a weekly bowling night. Physically, Carl's got that iconic curly auburn hair, freckles, and purple glasses. He used to have braces. He's probably around 17 to 19 during the show, working for college credit. A funny bit of trivia is that he was born without nostrils, but still has a sense of smell. Go figure. He's also scared of spiders, snails, rats, and the smell of garlic. He might be clumsy, but he's actually a decent singer and can speak French. He's just this lovable, nerdy guy who's always trying to make Monogram proud, even if he messes up half the time. Okay, let's get to the main event, the agent, the myth, the legend, Perry the Platypus, aka Agent P. He was adopted by the Flynn Fletcher family 5 years ago from an O.W.C.A-run animal shelter. They picked him because his weird, wall-eyed look made him seem like he was looking at both Phineas and Ferb at the same time. They originally named him Bartholomew, but changed it to Perry pretty much as soon as they got him home. To his family, Perry is just a platypus. They don't do much. That's his cover. He plays the part of the mindless, lazy pet perfectly, but the second he's alone, he whips out that brown fedora, stands on 2 feet, and becomes Agent P, one of the O.W.C.A.'s top operatives. He is heroic, noble, selfless, and almost always has a serious look on his face. He's got a secret lair under the house with tons of entrances like a chimney Vader and hidden panels all over the yard. His nemesis, of course, is Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz. And his mission almost every single day is to find out what crazy scheme Doof is up to and put a stop to it. The funny thing is, the chaos from their fights almost always ends up accidentally cleaning up whatever giant invention Phineas and Ferb built that day, which is why Candace can never bust them. Perry is incredibly loyal to his host family. He cares about them deeply and will drop everything if he thinks they're in real danger. The whole plot of the movie, Across the Second Dimension, kicks off because he's terrified of losing them if they find out his secret. He even has a locket with pictures of him with Phineas and Ferb inside. Despite his serious nature, he's not heartless. He's shown to care for Doofenshmirtz on some level, helping him out when he's not being actively evil. Their relationship is the definition of a friendly nemesis. They have a routine, and when it gets disrupted, they both get kinda sad. As for his skills, Perry is a master of what they call platyjitsu and can easily take down Doofenshmirtz in hand-to-hand combat. He's super strong, fast, and agile for a platypus, He's also a genius. He can operate almost any vehicle or machine, including Doof's own innators, which usually have a very obvious off switch. He can play the guitar, DJ, sing opera, and read sheet music. He can even build stuff like a whole shelter with animal servants when they were stranded in Hawaii. He seems to pull a ton of gadgets out of thin air from behind his back. He's got a wrist communicator, a grappling gun, a parachute with his face on it, a jetpack, and of course, his fedora. That hat is more than just a fashion statement. It's got a built-in saw. It works like a boomerang. It has a computer scanner, and most importantly, it's how Doofenshmirtz recognizes him. Without the hat, Doof just sees a platypus. Perry once had to fight Doof while in Candace's body, and Doof's reaction was, "Perry the teenage girl?" Perry is just the coolest, most competent, and most complex character, living this insane double life and balancing his duty with his love for his family. Now, this is where it gets really weird. Dr. Heinz Doofenshmirtz, for a while, actually became an agent for the O.W.C.A himself. It's a long story, but after the last day of summer, he kinda had a change of heart and decided to try being good. He even became a science teacher at Danville High School. To understand Doof, you have to go back to his childhood, which was, and I'm putting this lightly, absolutely terrible. His parents literally didn't even show up for his birth. He had to throw his own surprise birthday parties every year, and the cake was always eaten by bats. For a while, his parents disowned him, and he had to live with ocelots. His only friend was a balloon he drew a face on named Balloony. His dad made him stand in the garden all day and night pretending to be a lawn gnome after the real one got repossessed. When his brother Roger was born, his parents, who thought they were having a girl, made Heinz wear all the dresses they had knitted. Roger was the favorite, good at everything, especially kickball, while Heinz failed at everything, even jungle gym. He was bullied constantly by a kid named Boris who always kicked sand in his face. It's no wonder he turned to evil. His life was a non-stop series of unfortunate events. Every attempt at anything, from magic tricks to science fairs, ended in failure, usually losing to a simple baking soda volcano. He even tried to start a bratwurst business, but hot dog vendors were just too popular. His evil 101 teacher flunked him. He dated Linda Flynn Fletcher once, before she was a pop star, and it was a disaster. It was actually her who suggested he start small by trying to take over just the tri-state area. He eventually married a woman named Charlene, and they had a daughter, Vanessa. He tried so hard to give Vanessa the amazing birthdays he never had, but they were always too childish for her. They eventually divorced, and he gets huge alimony checks from her, which is how he funds all his innators. His life's work is building these crazy inventions to enact petty revenge for all the slights he suffered. He's not really evil, just deeply insecure and kinda goofy. He is overly dramatic, loves to monologue about his tragic backstories, and almost always includes a self-destruct button on his inventions. Despite all his failures, he did succeed a few times. He once managed to move the Earth to create an early autumn, and another time he accidentally became the tri-governor of the tri-state area through a time loop. But in the end, he usually chooses to do the right thing, especially if it involves his daughter Vanessa. In the Milo Murphy's Law crossover, we find out he's destined to invent time travel and becomes Professor Time, living on the Murphy's couch after his building gets destroyed. So from tragic villain to high school teacher to O.W.C.A agent to time traveler, Doofenshmirtz has had quite the journey. He's goofy, eccentric, and you can't help but root for him, even when he's trying to enslave all the pigeons, or something equally ridiculous. And if you think the Monogram family's involvement with the O.W.C.A stops with the Major, you'd be wrong. Meet his son, Monty Monogram. So remember how Major Monogram always wanted to be an acrobat? He kinda projected that dream onto his son, giving him acrobatic classes since he was a baby, but Monty wanted to be just like his dad and fight evil. He eventually graduated from S.H.E.I.L.D, which stands for the High School Without a Cool acronym, and managed to impress his dad by combining his acrobatic skills with his evil fighting style. Perry actually caught it all on camera, showing Monogram that Monty was taking down a seriously bad dude named Rodrigo while doing flips and stuff. That's how he finally got his dad's approval. Now, the real juicy part of Monty's story is his relationship with Vanessa Doofenshmirtz. They met after Monty saved her and her dad from that Rodrigo guy. They started meeting up for coffee, went to a dance together, and basically started this whole secret romance. They were constantly trying to keep their dads from finding out. Perry and Carl even helped them out a few times. Carl was a bit jealous of Monty's relationship with his dad, but he kept the secret, telling Monty he owed him big time. Eventually, Monty helped his dad take down Rodney, another evil scientist, and even arrested him personally. He is a full-fledged agent, a skilled fighter, and has his own jetpack. However, in the episode set 10 years in the future, we see Vanessa is dating Ferb, so it seems like she and Monty eventually broke up somewhere along the way. Now let's talk about Gary the Gander. This guy was a real ghost for a while. He just straight up disappeared, vanished into thin air, and nobody in the O.W.C.A had a clue where he went. Major Monogram was getting desperate, telling Perry he could be anywhere from Iceland to the moon, literally. He even threw out Burbank and Monte Carlo as possibilities. But Perry being Perry eventually tracks him down. And where is he? Not on the moon, but chilling on a tropical island, just living his best life on vacation. When Agent P finally drags him back to the headquarters, Gary has this super ashamed look on his face. You can tell he feels awkward about the whole thing, coming back after being gone for so long. He's your classic white goose, orange beak, orange feet. But when he's off duty, he rocks a pink flower lei and a fedora, just like Perry's. His whole deal, according to his secret file from the Where's My Perry game, is that he's a master at finding hiding spots, which makes sense. He can also fly super long distances, and obviously he loves a good tropical vacation. Plus, you can't deny he looks pretty sharp in that lei. And for one of the most unexpected agent reveals in the whole series, Candace's best friend, Stacy Hirano. She's always on the phone with Candace, usually listening to her freak about busting her brothers or about Jeremy. It all happened in the episode Happy Birthday, Isabella. Stacy was at the Flynn Fletcher house and accidentally witnessed Perry and Doofenshmirtz fighting. She saw the whole thing, Perry in his agent mode, the secret layer, everything. Perry showed her the official O.W.C.A rulebook, which says if a host family finds out an agent's secret, they either have to get their memory erased or the agent gets relocated. But Stacy, being super smart, found a loophole. She wasn't technically part of the Flynn Fletcher family, so the rule didn't apply to her. She promised to keep the secret, and she and Perry became secret-keeping buddies. She'd even pet sit for Perry, which was really just an excuse for them to hang out and play video games in his lair. Later on in Agent T, T for teen, she actually saved Perry from a bad situation with Love Muffin. And as a reward, Perry officially made her a member of the O.W.C.A, giving her the codename Agent T. Her agent file shows she's got some serious skills, including babysitting, animal noises, miniature golfing, gymnastics, and she's a third-level black belt in Taekwondo. Stacy is usually the cool-headed one in her friendship with Candace, trying to be a voice of reason. She doesn't really care about busting the boys and usually ends up having fun with their inventions. In the future, it's revealed she becomes the president of Uruguay, which is an amazing career path for her. She's of Japanese descent, as we see her cousins in Tokyo. Her relationship with Coltrane from Jeremy's band is also a sweet little side plot. They are a cute couple. So yeah, from a typical teenage girl to a secret agent to a future world leader, Stacy Hirano is way more than just Candace's best friend. Now, every great hero needs a great rival. And for a short time, Perry's was Peter the Panda. Peter is another O.W.C.A secret agent, but he's based in Seattle. He's got the same kind of fedora as Perry, but it's a lighter color. He first showed up when Dr. Doofenshmirtz went to a convention in Seattle, and they instantly became nemesis. Doof brought Peter back to Danville, mostly just to make Perry jealous, and it worked. Perry was super depressed when he found out Doof had a new nemesis. Peter is a lot more serious and aggressive in his agent work than Perry. While Perry usually lets Doofenshmirtz finish his monologue and song before they fight, Perry just went straight to disabling the Innator while Doof was in the middle of a nostalgic song about missing Perry. The whole thing came to a head on a talk show called Dr. Feelbetter, where Doof and Perry were trying to work out their issues. It was all a trap, of course. Doofenshmirtz planned to freeze all the agents in the audience, but Perry and Peter teamed up, broke free, and took down Doof together. After that, they went back to being each other's respective nemeses. Peter went back to Seattle to fight his local mad scientist, a guy named Professor Mystery, but he and Perry stayed on good terms. They teamed up again to save Doofenshmirtz from an alien poacher and even had dinner together at the Space Needle. Peter is a man, or Panda, of few words. He never speaks and just has this constant blank expression, even when he's throwing chairs around. He's a quiet, serious, and highly effective agent who provided a great little rivalry arc for our main platypus. Of course, Perry isn't the only Agent P in the O.W.C.A. There's also Pinky the Chihuahua, Isabella's pet. Just like Perry, Pinky lives a double life. To Isabella and the Fireside Girls, he's a twitchy little chihuahua who likes to eat everything except his own dog food, especially grilled cheese sandwiches, but secretly he's an agent in a different O.W.C.A division run by Admiral Wanda Acronym. His nemesis is the fashion-obsessed evil scientist Professor Poofenplatz. Pinky has an uncontrollable twitch and is super fast and agile. According to Monogram, he's great with computers, mostly because he's good at hitting his enemies with computer monitors. He's also trained in martial arts, he's a capable agent, but his missions often get complicated by his chihuahua instincts, like his obsession with eating things he shouldn't. In one episode, he eats Isabella's sash, full of patches, and Phineas and Ferb have to build a shrinking machine to go inside him and get it back. Just like Perry, he was part of the big agent fight against the Normbots in the Second Dimension movie. Pinky's commanding officer is Admiral Wanda Acronym. She's basically the head of Pinky's division, just like Monogram is for Perry. She's got a posh British accent, and like Monogram, has her own unpaid intern, a girl named Carla, who apparently comes from a whole family of unpaid interns, suggesting she might be related to Carl. Wanda briefs Pinky on his missions against Professor Poofenplatz, usually involving stolen handbags or some scheme related to hairspray. Her name is a play on Monogram, since an acronym and a monogram are both about initials. Then you have the human agents. Besides Monty, there's Lila Lawberry, an agent from the Canadian branch, or COCA. She's Perry's partner on a mission in Canada to protect Albert the Moose. Perry is initially annoyed with her because she let some criminals escape on a previous mission, but it turns out it was all part of her bigger plan to track down her nemesis, Professor Bannister. She is super competent, skilled in combat, and teaches Perry a thing or two about cooperation. She's kind of like a Canadian Lara Croft. Now let's get into the really weird agents, because the O.W.C.A doesn't just hire mammals. First up, Planty the potted plant. This all started because Perry didn't show up for one of Doof's schemes, and Doofenshmirtz, feeling lonely, decided to improvise. He grabbed a nearby potted plant, stuck a little newspaper hat on its leaf, and pretended it was his nemesis. He even trapped it, but then, in a classic Doofenshmirtz fail, the trap itself, which was a pendulum, ended up swinging Planty around and defeating him. For this heroic, albeit accidental act, Major Monogram officially awarded Planty a medal and made him an agent of the O.W.C.A. Monogram said it happened during one of their darkest hours. Planty was even briefly stationed at the Flynn Fletcher house, but his cover was blown when a fedora fell on him, so he had to be relocated. He is a legend. And perhaps the most ridiculous of all is Agent X, a xylophone. When Monogram questions this, Carl's explanation is simply, "We didn't have any animals that started with X, sir." This is despite the fact that animals like the X-ray fish exist. It's just a perfect weird joke to cap off the incredible, bizarre, and amazing roster of the organization without a cool acronym. The roster of O.W.C.A agents is basically a whole zoo and then some. They've got an agent for almost every letter of the alphabet. Take Agent A, the Aardvark. We see this agent in La Candice Cabra. The secret files say that Agent A is a specialist in nocturnal missions, using that great sense of smell to sniff out evil in the dark. Apparently, this Aardvark also avoids working with Agent Ant for reasons we can only guess at. Maybe a professional rivalry, or maybe Aardvarks just don't like ants. And speaking of Agent Ant, there's another Agent A who is an ant. Major Monogram calls the agent hardworking, which is pretty fitting for an ant. As you'd expect, his special skill is his strength. The little guy can lift something like 100 times his own body weight, which is an incredible asset for an agent of his size. There are two Agent Bs. First, Agent B the bear. She's a recurring background agent. You see her in an elevator with a bunch of other agents when Pinky the Chihuahua is trying to get to his briefing. She shows up at the O.W.C.A Christmas party too. During the big Save Summer event, when Monogram gets fired, Carl tells her to just go into the woods and see what's out there. Her secret file says she gets claustrophobic in elevators, which explains her look in that one scene, and that she hibernates in the winter, making her unavailable for missions, though she'll make an exception for a good Christmas party. The other Agent B is a bulldog. He's a bit more intimidating. We see him trying to arrest Perry in Cheer Up Candace, so he's clearly a by-the-book kind of agent. He also pops up in the big flashback scene in Across the Second Dimension. His file describes him as having the brains and brawn in a single wrinkly package, which is just a perfect description for a bulldog. It also warns that his bite is definitely worse than his bark. He is the muscle. Moving on to Agent C, the chicken. She was at the Dr. Feelbetter show where all the agents got trapped by Doofenshmirtz. Once she was freed, she went right to pecking one of the evil scientists. She was also in a meeting where she tried to eat another agent, Agent W, the worm, but Monogram had to step in and stop her. It's unclear if she was just messing with him or if her chicken instincts just took over. During the second dimension invasion, she's right there in the fight, riding in the sidecar of a motorcycle driven by Albert the Moose. Her secret file hilariously notes that she has a tendency to bob her head while walking and should avoid missions with worm agents. It also says she's the only agent who is talented and tasty over rice. Karen the cat is, through and through, a cat. This means she's super easily distracted and maybe not the most effective agent when she's out in the field. But don't let that fool you, because the girl has skills. She apparently knows kung fu and can single-handedly take out a whole swarm of robot fleas. She is a yellow Siamese cat with these striking green eyes and brown paws. She starts off with a brown fedora with a yellow band, but later on, she gets the classic black hat band like a proper seasoned agent. Then there's Agent Crocodile. This guy was another one of the agents crammed into that elevator in Isabella and the Temple of Sap. We learn his name is Agent Crocodile from the Where's My Perry game. His file mentions he needs to bask in the sun to control his body temperature, which is a problem for missions, and that he hates having his picture taken at holiday parties. He just wants to do his job and be left alone, a true professional. There's also Agent D, the duck. His real name might be Dana, at least according to Doofenshmirtz in one of the games. He's another one who was in that big trap at the Dr. Feelbetter show. He seems to be pretty unpopular with his fellow agents. They all laugh at a mean joke Doofenshmirtz makes about ducks, and later they all glare at him when they find out he's the one who got Doofenshmirtz fired from the agency by filing a bunch of complaints. So he's kind of the snitch of the O.W.C.A. In his mindless animal mode, he looks a little goofy, with his eyes pointing in different directions. His file says he's good on many missions because he's semi-aquatic, and he's also good at hand-to-hand combat. Another Agent D is a light brown dog who often appears alongside Agent O, the owl. He gets injured by the rogue agent Dennis the rabbit in No More Bunny Business, ending up with his paw in a sling. He's in a lot of the group scenes, like the Dr. Feelbetter show, the Christmas party, and the big fight against the Normbots in the movie. He's a reliable background agent. His file says he specializes in tracking, loves group sing-alongs, and occasionally needs to scratch behind the ears. Even on a mission, he's just a good boy doing his part to fight evil. Next up is Agent E, the bald eagle. She's a very patriotic choice for an agent. Her base seems to be near Phineas's grandparents' place. In The Ballad of Badbeard, Perry can't get into his lair, so Agent E just swoops down and takes him to her nest, where Monogram gives the briefing from a small TV hidden inside one of her eggs. She even brings some worms back to the nest, confirming she's a mother-to-be. At the end of the episode, she swoops in to rescue Perry and Candace from Doof's self-destructing island. She's also seen at the Christmas party. Her file mentions that they have to monitor her around worm and rodent agents because of her predatory nature. It also says she's extremely sensitive, which is funny. Then there's Agent F, the frog. He was mentioned in the commentary for The Chronicles of Meep, where they said he gets along really well with an Agent C who is a cow, not the chicken. His file reveals he's an excellent swimmer and naturally good at getting rid of unwanted insects. In one of the games, Doofenshmirtz calls him Ferdinand the Frog, but that name's not used in the show itself. He's another solid agent, using his natural frog abilities for the greater good. There is another Agent F, this time a fox. He first pops up in Cheer Up Candace. His secret file says he's super wily and can sneak out of any trap. He's also good at building gadgets out of common items, a real MacGyver type. Apparently, he plays video games in his free time. A funny detail is that when he rolls up his sleeves, he has these ridiculously bulky arm muscles. He's also one of the only two agents we ever see pass gas on screen, a truly prestigious honor. His color scheme actually changes slightly after a few appearances, going from more brown to more red. Then you have the koi fish agents, who are also agents F plural. They were just normal pet koi in a neighbor's pond that Perry used as an entrance to his lair. To avoid any potential lawsuits, the O.W.C.A just decided to make them all secret agents. They actually come to Perry's rescue once when he gets trapped in a baby's high chair, swooping in to get him out so he can stop Doofenshmirtz. They seem to spend a surprising amount of time out of water for fish. Their file says they refuse to stand still and can go on international missions, traveling in a bowl, though they're not happy about it. Agent G is a goat. During the agency chaos and Save Summer, Carl finds him just eating memos and tells him to get out into the field. He's later one of the agents who gets turned into a pharmacist zombie by Doof's Repulsinator. Then there's Newton the New, who has the absolute best code name, Agent Silent G. It's a perfect pun because the G in new is silent. And guess what? Newton is completely silent. He never makes a sound. We first see him in Agent Doof, and he gets a bit of a rough time. He gets his leg broken while on a mission with Perry and a temporarily allied Doofenshmirtz when they're running from another villain, Dr. Diminutive. He also gets pretty beaten up during the big agent brawl in Phineas and Ferb Save Summer. A fun fact is that his identity was supposed to be a secret, but Doofenshmirtz, being Doofenshmirtz, just put it on his blog for the whole world to see. So his secret file says he's looking for a new secret identity. Poor guy. He's also known for his full, luxurious beard. Then you have Harry the Hyena. This guy is pretty straightforward. He shows up in the O.W.C.A file special, and true to his species, the dude just laughs all the time. It's his defining characteristic. He's also apparently the mascot for the Hardy Har toy company, which is a pretty clever little detail. He is pretty much a one-note joke, but it's a good one. Herman the Hedgehog is actually a bit of a big deal in a small way because he was the very first minor agent to even get a name. Pinky doesn't really count since we knew his name was Pinky before we knew he was an agent. Herman has this little theme song that's just like Agent P's. You see him pop up in the middle of Spot the Diff marathon version of Lawn Gnome Beach Party of Error, where he literally just falls on Candace's head. His agent file says he's great at fitting into small spaces and often goes unnoticed, especially when he's disguised as a coconut. It also says he's the perfect size and shape to be thrown like a football, which is both hilarious and a little concerning. And he has these wide eyes that apparently never blink. He makes a few other little cameos here and there, like in the Christmas special and Roller Coaster the Musical, just another one of the many agents filling out the ranks. There's also Agent H, the Heron. He shows up at an animal sensitivity training seminar, but he leaves early because, well, he's already an animal. His secret file reveals his name is Agent B, which is confusing, and that he has a long-standing feud with the pig agent, though nobody can remember why. There's also Agent K, the kangaroo. She's a female agent, which we know because she has a pouch. She was also in the Dr. Feelbetter fight and the packed elevator scene. Her nemesis seems to be an African-American man with curly hair. Her secret file is great. It says she uses her pouch to hide secret gadgets and weapons, and when she's not on missions, she carries her Joey in there. She also apparently loves a good holiday party. We can't forget another Agent K, also known as Agent Kitty. He is a golden brown tabby cat. There's a bit of confusion about his codename. The chicken is called Agent C, so they call the cat Agent Kitty to avoid doubling up. But then again, Perry and Pinky are both Agent P, so the rules are a little loose. He is another one of the background agents you see in the big group shots. His file says he's a ferocious fighter with razor-sharp claws and natural stealth. He's also exceptionally clean and has a lovely singing voice. In one of the games, Doof calls him Calvin the Cat. Agent L is a lizard. The agent brief says he's clever and stealthy, his regenerative limbs make him great for dangerous missions, but he needs a lot of sunlight or he gets sluggish. He also enjoys sampling exotic cuisine, a refined lizard of culture. Agent M is a monkey. He's most famous for being seen in the musical Cliptastic Countdown episode, typing on a typewriter. This is a visual gag on the infinite monkey theorem. There's a slight animation inconsistency with him. Sometimes he's shown without a tail, which would technically make him an ape, but in other episodes he has one. Carl also mentions that an Agent M once spilled a latte on an antique couch, so he can be a bit clumsy. Maggie the macaw is one of the very few animal agents who can actually speak English, even if it's just a few words here and there. The only other one who really talks is Doofenshmirtz when he was briefly an agent. So she's in rare company. She's a big, beautiful scarlet macaw, all red feathers, with this cool curl of feathers on her head. Like all the agents, she's got the little brown fedora. She's a talking bird, which you'd think would be a huge asset in the espionage world, but we mostly just see her as part of the team. Manny the Goose is a character who was a total mystery for a long time. He was first mentioned by Dr. Doofenshmirtz in Phineas and Ferb Busters. Doof thought he was getting a new Nemesis toy in the mail, and the name on the box was Manny the Mongoose. For ages, that's all we knew about him. He did pop up in the background of the YMCA music video, but we didn't get a proper look at him until Phineas and Ferb Save Summer. His agent file says he's small and nimble with great eyesight, which makes him perfect for underground missions. There is another Agent M, a moose. He's seen at a black tie event with Monty Monogram, Major Monogram's son. Monty tells the moose he's on his own for the rest of the night, which makes the moose look really sad. He also looks a lot like Albert, the Canadian icon. And we have 3 different Agent O's. First, Agent O, the octopus. We see him in Phineas and Ferb Save Summer. His file says that once he gets a hold of a mission, he refuses to let go. He is a master of camouflage and can get a little handsy at company events, which is a perfect octopus joke. Then there's Agent O the ostrich. Monogram describes this agent as elusive. He was one of the many agents crammed into that elevator. A funny scene shows him with his head buried in the sand, which, despite the myth, real ostriches don't do. His file says he works well as long as his head isn't buried. And the third Agent O is an owl. He's usually seen with Agent D the dog. He also got injured by Dennis the rabbit. He's a brown owl. His file states the obvious. He has great vision, silent flight perfect for stealth, and prefers night missions. It also adds that he's an enthusiastic dancer. We've got a whole bunch of Agent Ps too, not just Perry and Pinky. There's Agent P the pig. He shows up after the Dr. Feelbetter fight. His file says he has a keen sense of smell and is an excellent tracker, but he gets understandably nervous when people mention bacon or pork chops. He loves the agency Christmas party, mostly for the refreshments. There's also Agent P the porcupine. His file makes it very clear that he does not like to be confused with Herman the hedgehog. His spiny quills are an excellent natural defense, making him a very pointy and effective agent. And finally, Agent P the Possum. We see him very briefly in Save Summer. Carl, in his new role as Major in Charge, tells him to play dead, which is perfect, on-the-nose instruction for a possum agent. The Agent R's are numerous as well. There's Agent R the Rabbit. His file says he's a rogue spirit, an expert hacker, and a master of disguise, a very useful skill for a rabbit. Then, Agent R the Raccoon. She's a playable character in the Robot Riot game. Her file says she's obsessively clean and always washes her food. She has cute little hands, but is often mistaken for a villain because of her natural bad guy mask. She even shares a lair entrance with Perry. There's also Agent R the Rat. This one is special. He was a street rat that Monogram hired right after he got fired from the O.W.C.A. This rat then helps free all the other captured agents. From the streets to a hero. A real zero to hero story. Agent R the Reindeer is a festive agent. He shows up at the Christmas party. He wears 3 fedoras on his antlers because one won't fit in the middle. His file says his antlers are powerful, but make wearing a hat difficult. It also rumors that he can fly and loves cookies and eggnog, heavily implying he's one of Santa's reindeer. And there's Agent R, the rhinoceros. Perry recruits 2 of them in Africa. One of them is later assigned to Doofenshmirtz when Perry is away. This rhino is clearly a rookie, defeating Doof almost entirely by accident and showing a complete lack of nemesis to nemesis etiquette. Let's move on to the S's. Sergey the Snail, also known as Agent S, is assigned to Doofenshmirtz on 2 separate occasions when the agency decides Doof is just a low-level threat. First in Oh There You Are, Perry, and again in Perry the Actopus, when Perry becomes too famous to be a secret agent effectively. Don't let his size fool you, Agent S is surprisingly strong. He can easily lift Doofenshmirtz and just toss him around the room. But he does have one major weakness, and it's salt. Doofenshmirtz actually exploits this by making a circle of salt around him, trapping him completely. Since he is so slow, he's probably only ever assigned to the least threatening villains. It would just be too risky otherwise. An interesting tidbit is that snails are hermaphrodites, so Sergey is technically both male and female. But there's also Agent S the Snake. He is at the Animal Sensitivity Seminar and later participates in the big brawls with the evil scientists. His file says he uses his tongue to taunt evil, is great for tying up bad guys, and has a tendency to tie himself in knots when he gets nervous. We also have Agent S the Squirrel. He's in the background of a few episodes. His file says his bushy tail is the envy of other rodents, and that he takes vacation time during nut storing season. A practical squirrel. Then we have Terry the Turtle, or Agent T. He's not from the main dimension. He's from the gelatin dimension we see in Across the Second Dimension. In his world, when their Phineas and Ferb went to the pet store, they took Baljeet with them, and Baljeet chose Terry. The main Phineas even mentions remembering seeing a turtle at the pet store, so our dimension's Terry is out there somewhere. Agent T from the gelatin dimension is a tough cookie. He promises to help fight the second dimension Doofenshmirtz if they drain all the gelatin from his world. He was actually created for the video game of the movie, but the creators, Dan and Swampy, liked him so much they gave him a cameo in the movie itself. In the game, he's a playable character, and his whole thing is being extra hardy. He takes less damage than other characters because, he's a turtle with a shell. He's tough and reliable, a solid agent to have on your side. There's also Agent the Tadpole. Monogram describes him as enigmatic, which is fitting for a mysterious, developing agent. There are also 2 Agent W's. Agent W the whale is a huge agent, literally. He is so big he's still looking for a fedora that will fit him. He's seen in a sauna with Monogram and once ate Doofenshmirtz's boat. A whale agent is just an awesome concept. The other Agent W is a worm. He's the one the chicken agent, Agent C, keeps trying to eat. Since he's so small, he's probably used for stealth missions. His file hilariously says he shouldn't be partnered with Agent C because his devil-may-care attitude clashes with her no-nonsense thinking. But if you thought that was wild, wait until you see the complete Phineas and Ferb timeline explained. Click the video on screen now to find out.